Let's pray. Abba, thank you for your amazing love. Thank you because you love us so much that you sent your only begotten Son and died for all of us, died for all sins. A mystery very difficult to understand for many. Abba, just help us and encourage us and guide us with your Ruach HaKodesh. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen. So we finally get to Rosh Chodesh Av. Is one of the most saddest month ever, especially this beginning with tonight and the rest of the 9 days until the 9th of Av. The month of Av is the 5th month of the biblical year, counting from Nisan. And so I'm just going to repeat myself with many things that, we tend to forget things, especially men. I don't even remember what I got for breakfast this morning. It's just, the only thing I tend not to forget is my wallet, car keys, and my pistol. The cell phone, you're right. The cell used to be the pistol, but now it just, the cell phone. I mean, you can't get out without it, right? You just, oh, my cell phone. Yeah, that's what we are. But the rest, we tend to forget everything. I mean, almost everything. So the month of Av is the 5th month of 30 days in the biblical calendar. Usually happens between July and August of the secular calendar. I call it metamorphosis because it's kind of, we're changing from one thing to another. It's like every year is the same thing, but with a different, I changed my glasses and I can't get used to it. Some of you look very far away and some of you are very close. But I can see your faces now. I used not to see your faces. I used to see your smiley faces, but now I can see your faces, which is good. I guess I'm getting very blind. So this is also the month of destruction, but at the same time it's the month of redemption, the month of love. Two things are in one place. The first 9 days are really, really sad. The Jewish people, they take this very, very seriously. That no one does anything during these days. No, they don't shave. They don't do parties. They don't even want to die during these days. I mean, it's crazy, but it's happened. When you study the history of the Jewish people, it's just incomprehensible how Hashem kind of punishes his people, but at the same time we deserve it because we are disobedient. And so what I'd like to talk about, let's see, what are we now? This is where we are. I always like to do this because sometimes we don't remember where we are. We know it's summer, that's about it, right? We know the school's about to start. I mean, it's just, you don't even need to remember those things, right? I just saw a school bus this morning. I was like, man, school starts or what? What's going on here? I guess in some schools it started, I don't know. They started it already? You started it today. But we live very far away unless your bus came around my place. I don't know, man. But, yeah, but anyways, I was like, man, school buses already? That means you got to get up earlier because traffic is going to be there, and. But I love to hear the children on the streets and, just waiting and arguing in the corner for whatever, they're just waiting for the bus. And I like to see people from different backgrounds and races and colors and all of that. It's just amazing. Very varieties of peoples, and we just bless. Some people, take it for granted, but we have lots of blessings here. So this is where we are. We are, this 3 months are very interesting. Tammuz, Av, and Elul. We just came out from Tammuz, and Av, we're starting at Av, and we are going through different things this month and moving to Elul. And by the time we realize we're going to be in the high holidays, I mean, it's just around the corner. High holidays, just around the corner. I mean, it's going to be very hot and then cooling down. August, September, fall is there, my favorite season. And that's it. 2 important events for this month. Again, it's a month of sadness and happiness at the same time. The 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av, is a fast day. And then you have the 15th of Av, Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av is very interesting. It's the 15th day of Av. Is both an ancient and modern holiday. Originally a post-biblical date of joy, it served as a matchmaking day for unmarried women in the Second Temple period, before the fall of Jerusalem and 70 of the Common Era. Very interesting day. Let's look a little bit into the biblical Spring Festival. The Spring Festival is concluded with Shavuot, as we all know. Let's resume, let's review it. This is the period of time between Shavuot and the 17th of Tammuz, which, interesting enough, is happening 40 days. 40 days is when this is happening. So the number 40 is a very interesting number in the Bible. Anytime you see the number 40, it's like a flag for us to understand what's going on. What happened in 40 days? 40 days of the flood, the time of Noah, remember? 40 days of Moses going up and down, the 40 days in the desert, the 40 days, years in the desert. Moses himself got a 40 kind of formula that we talk about it all the time, and so that 40 means something very interesting. One of the books of the Torah divides in 40 weeks as well. Which is another interesting thing. Not 40 weeks, but 40 chapters that we read in 10 weeks. I think it's Exodus. Very interesting. And so you have, and Genesis is like 50 chapters that we read in 12 weeks. 50, 12. It's another interesting number, combination of numbers. 15 might be the Jubilee, another type of generations and things like that. And 12, the 12 tribes, 12 Talmidim of Yeshua, and so on. Very, again, there's nothing mysterious with the numbers. It's just a flag for us to understand, to kind of keep up with what's going on in biblical times, in times of the Lord. So Tammuz was a fast day, which is the day of fast and prayer day, commemorates the breach of the walls of Jerusalem before the destruction of the temple, marks the 3-week mourning period leading up to Tisha B'Av. And, it happened twice in the same day, first by the Babylonians and then by the Romans. I don't know which one was worst. But, when we study the Torah, we see all these amazing formulas and things and teachings that we don't do here due to the time. But it's just interesting the way the Lord works with these holidays. So we have the 3 weeks of sorrow. We are in the 3 weeks of sorrow, actually. This is the second admonition. There's 3 admonitions, And then we move into the 7 weeks of consolation. Let's review quickly. The 3 weeks of this week, weeks are called also the 3 weeks of Bein Hametzarim, which is between the straits. It's a period of mourning commemorating the destruction of the first and second holy temples of Israel. It starts on the 17th of Tammuz and ends in the 9th of Av. The 3 weeks of sorrow is a period of 3 weeks of mourning, again, which is complete into Tisha B'Av. Traditionally, it's associated with the fasts days mentioned by the prophet Zechariah 8:19. Want to look at it? Let's look at it. Zechariah 8:19. A very interesting book that is very difficult for some people to understand it, but is just amazing the way the Lord works into. I should have write it in the thing. I forgot to write it on it. Zechariah, right here. Where are you, buddy? Zechariah, I told you what, 8:19. It says, Adonai Sevaot says, in the future, peoples and inhabitants of many cities will come. 19. Adonai Sevaot says, the fast days of the 4th, the 5th, 7th, and 10th month are to become times of joy, gladness, and cheer for the house of Yehudah. Therefore, love, truth, and peace. This is an amazing prophecy that, all these fasting days will become times of joy. This is going to happen, according to the rabbis, in the period of the Messianic era. So when Messiah comes back, that's what's going to happen. All of these days, they're not going to be fastings anymore because there will be no need for it. And Yeshua mentioned that to his people as well, kind of resembling the times of joy in the future, times that will happen eventually. So I have a couple things I want to tell you as well before I continue. Let's see. The month of Av, as above, so below, the physical realm is a reflection of the spiritual. Av is the second of the summer month, and like Tammuz, the uncomfortable heat of Av is a reflection of the harsh spiritual nature of this month. Yet, as the days begin to get slightly shorter towards the end of the month, the summer heat begins to break. On a spiritual level, the second half of Av is therefore less intense. The month of Av is divided into two distinct qualities. The first 10 days are characterized by mourning, the destructions of the first and second temples specifically, and all destructions of life and value in general throughout history, including the present. The second half of the month is a period of connection, healing, and unity, beginning with Tu B'Av, potentially one of the most joyous days of the year. As we saw, Tammuz is connected with the quality of jealousy, and Av is connected with the Ava, insatiable desire. For this reason, Tammuz and Av are joined sequentially and in their overarching themes of destruction and mourning, as jealousy and desire go hand in hand. Hot weather can stimulate desire and lust. In Av, the summer heat is in full force, and we need to take this opportunity to direct our desires toward healthy ends. When necessary, we may even need to sublimate, elevate, or transform our desires. In the month of Av, we are offered a special strength to refine and elevate our desires to their roots, and ultimately to create tikkun for all of our misplaced energy and attention. This is really cool. I mean, there's more, but we don't have time to read all of this. Let me move on to this other commentary in here. So we have these 3 weeks of sorrow I was telling you about. And then we move into the 3 admonitions. This week is Masei Matot. It should be the other way around, Matot Masei. We read Jeremiah. I really encourage you to study these Haftarah portions. There's a mistake there. It should be Matot Masei. And so these portions are a really, really good, they have a really good meaning for all of us to study and to practice. And again, it's a flag for all of us to understand what's going on in the next days. Shabbat Chazon should be the other one. Wait a minute. I'm not organizing here today. I'm sorry. Not really organized. The 3 admonitions, the Haftarah readings this year is from Pinchas. The Haftarah readings take a different approach for the next 10 weeks, beginning on Pinchas. That was last week. Occurring after the 17th Tammuz, we'll read the 3 weeks of admonition, also called the 3 weeks of sorrow, of Haftarahs of rebuke, or also Haftarahs of sorrow. Matot Masei is the 2nd week of sorrow. We read Jeremiah 2:4 to 28, 3:4, 4:1 to 2. After the 3 weeks, we'll read Isaiah's 7 weeks of consolation. And then you have Shabbat Hazon, which is going to happen a Sabbath before the 9th of Av. Shabbat Hazon is the Shabbat of a vision, because it starts with that name, a vision. And the Sabbath immediately preceding the 9th of Av, and which means, again, Sabbath of vision, Hazon, which is the way that the Haftarah and prophetic reading of Isaiah 1 to 27 starts. Then after the Sabbath of vision, you have Shabbat Nahamu, which provides words of consolation a week later. Thus to embrace Tisha B'Av from opposite sides, cushioning the blow of the day of destruction, allowing the mourners to go into it knowing there is salvation, and emerge from it reassured that redemption will come. Shabbat Hazon begins at sundown on Friday, 9th of August this year of 2019. Tisha B'Av of 2019 will begin in the evening of Saturday, August 10th, and ends on the evening of Sunday, August 11th. Bethel and I is going to hold a prayer service in here, but what we're going to do something different. We're going to read the book of Lamentations. We're going to sit on the floor as is customary. Just bring something to put your backside on it, because, and we're not going to help anybody if you cannot get up. I will help you. I will help you because I might need help myself. So yes, we're going to help each other to get up on the floor. We're not going to drag out, But yes, I really encourage you to come up and just, be here for Tisha B'Av. It's going to be the Mincha prayers for Tisha B'Av. That will be Sunday, August the 11th. So Tisha B'Av is a day of mourning for the destruction of the first and second temples in Jerusalem by the Babylonians and the Romans, 655 years apart. I mean, it's a shame, isn't it? It's like 9/11 will happen all over again in the same way, at the same time, at the same hour. knowing that it will happen because the way we are, performing out there. I mean, I'm not saying it will happen, but it's like 9/11 will happen again. So it happened 655 years apart. Again, we not remember what's going on. We tend to just get steady, we get to a place and everything's nice and cool, no problem. We have family here. We've been here how many years? 240 years, I think. This is a new country. This is a very young country, very young. There are many other countries that they've been out there for many centuries. And so there's so much for us to learn still. So the new generations need to know a lot of things. You need to save their souls before anything else happens, because we got to get out of here soon. I mean, we are getting out of here soon, some more faster than others. And so these kids, they are the ones who are taking this over. You got to get their cell phones out of their hands. You got to get their iPads out of their hands. Get off the internet and get some instruction from you guys. Get some instruction, because we need that instruction. We all need that instruction. You get out of the iPhone and the internet before, and then do it accordingly, because children will do whatever they see us doing. I used to read all the books my father used to read. Some of them were bad books. I mean, they were spiritual, but some kind of different things, You're like, wow, what is this? If my father is reading it, it should be good, right? Well, wrong. Some of those were not really good books. I mean, for my age. For his age were good, but not for my age. Now I understand there was nothing wrong with them, but his philosophy, when you're not ready for philosophy, and that's what I say all the time when I pray for children, I pray for them to understand the real wisdom from above. Because there's much stuff out there that it seems wisdom, but it's not wisdom from the Lord. I mean, philosophy makes, a lot of people atheists. Because, it's just crazy. Especially when they go to schools. School system is not really something that, how should I put it, without offending anybody. But you know what I mean. The school system is not something that we entirely should be depending on. And it's not entirely trustful. And we allow governments, not only United States of America, but all governments in the planet, we allow the governments to instruct our children. And, one thing is education, but another thing is indoctrination. What they are putting in their minds is a thing that we need to fix every day. Fix everything, and, things will be better eventually for their own life, for their own sake. And for the sake of the planet and the country and everything else. So, what are we? 12. Also, Tisha B'Av commemorates other tragedies, including the expulsion of Jewish people from Spain in 1492. And that's getting very, very deep. We have different rabbis from the Messianic movement studying and trying to get all the Sephardim back together. And they are saying that if we put all the Sephardim together, it will be like 3 times more than the Ashkenazim in the world. And so the thing is, they don't even know that they are Sephardic. There's a place in Colombia, it's called Medellin. Most of them are Jewish, and they don't even know they are. And there are many other places in Latin America. They are, including Mexico, Central America, and some other parts of Latin America and some other parts of the planet like Turkey and some other places, the Mizrahim as well. And, this happened in more than 500 years ago. And so, but it's coming back. There is a prophecy for them. And this prophecy is accomplishing. The place in Israel is ready for all these people when they come back. So, according to the tradition, the origins of the scene of Tisha B'Av is on Parashah Shelach Lecha, Numbers 13 and all the way to 15. There's 3 chapters, other sad chapters in there. The bad report from the scouts, some call them spies. I mean, let's review it a little bit. It's just sad the way, and we've been studying this in the class. We study this every year. We see this every year, actually. But anytime we see it much, much better. And it's a different perspective. In Numbers 10:35, the Jewish people is ready to cross over the Jordan. And they didn't. Why they didn't? Because they started, they were just getting ready. When the ark moved forward, Moshe will say, "Arise, O Lord, may your enemies be scattered. Let those who hate you flee before you." When it stopped, he says, "Return Adonai to the many, many thousands of Israel." And that's it. It was 3 days from the Holy Land. But what did they do? Chapter 11, but the people began complaining about their hardships to Adonai. When Adonai heard it, his anger flared up. So that fire from Adonai broke out against them and consumed the outskirts of the camp. Then the people cried to Moshe. I mean, isn't it funny? You complain to Adonai and then you cry out to Moshe. It's like you complaining to God and then Rabbi Scott show up and you crying to him, "Hey, Rabbi, pray for me," because, that's what they did right here, And so Moshe prayed to Adonai. Of course, Rabbi Scott will pray for you, right? He will pray for you. And the fire abated. I mean, that's what they do. And you keep reviewing. I think the tragedy started in here, but Adonai is still in his grace, kind of, okay, whatever, let's start all over again. And then you have Shelach Lecha. Well, before that, you have the case of Miriam and Aaron. They began to criticize Moshe on account of the Ethiopian woman he had married, for he had, in fact, married an Ethiopian woman. They said, "It is true that Adonai has spoken only with Moshe." Uh-oh, what did they do? Hasn't he spoke with us too? And so on. I mean, the whole case is right here. Then Shelach Lecha, where they sent the 10 scouts, the 12 scouts, and 10 of them came back with a bad report. Then you have more and more cases in here. You have the case of Korach, another revolutionary against Adonai. Then you keep looking, and there's another rebellion, chapter 17. But the very next day, the whole community of the people of Israel complain against Moshe and Aaron. Seems like complaining happening any time that it's hot out there, right? So another plague happened. Those dying from the plague number 14,700. Besides those who died in the Korach incident, Aaron returned to Moshe at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and the plague was stopped. I mean, another thing happened. Uh-oh. What did I do? Don't do this to me. Okay. Don't move. And so it's just sad when you look into the whole, the case of the snakes, remember? another case, water from the rock after Miriam died. Then Aaron died. And so a lot of things happened. Balak, the case of Balak and Bilam, another thing. I mean, all of these, from chapter 11 to chapter, what's the last chapter we're about to read? 30 something, 32? Chapter 35, 36, 36. This is the last chapter. This is happening in 38 years. All this, you know. So, in other words, the rabbis tell us that the book of Numbers, actually Deuteronomy, will be now in existence because they will be into the land already. It wouldn't be necessarily. The book of Numbers will be up to chapter 10. They will be moved into the land. That'll be it. You know, start the nation right there. But they didn't. They just, you know, kind of delayed their joyous receiving of the land for 38 years. How long you been delaying your blessings, people? What's going on? This is a good thing for us. I mean, you know, I'm not a preacher. I like to teach instead of preach. But this is a good sign for all of us. How long you been complaining about things that is not even your problem? I mean, you know, if you have food, you have a job, you have health, you have enough for you to live, I mean, what are you complaining about? Have you been doing your inventory about your blessings? How many blessings you have this morning? You are here for a reason, right? So, more and more blessings we have no time to complain. You just counting your blessings, don't you? I mean, you have hot water, right? You have electricity. You have a car. Some of you driving great, very good cars. Some of you get help from flat tires, right? Right away. I mean, it's just amazing. But, you know, I know you're not complaining. I'm talking to the people from Mars. Because Bethel and I, it's just amazing. You don't complain, you don't cry out, you don't do things badly. So this is the origins of, you know, Tisha B'Av according to the rabbis. They also talk about, the tradition also talks about the 5 calamities on Tisha B'Av. Of course, the evil report, that's one of them. The destruction of the first temple by the Babylonians, the destruction of the second temple by the Romans, the crush of Bar Kokhba revolt by the Romans on 132 of the Common Era, which is another very sad story. And then you have a Roman officer named Turfus Rufus. Even his name is kind of weird. Plowed the area of the temple under. I mean, he was just in charge of destroy totally the temple. Then we have the Isaiah 7 weeks of consolation, and they start with Isaiah 40. Verse 1 starts with the words, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. These words are like crying out to the Lord. Comfort, yes, comfort my people, says your Lord. Speak comfort to Jerusalem and cry out to her, for she has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sins. The voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Isaiah 41:3. And can you see Yeshua right there? Well, you probably don't, right? But you see probably the so-called John the Baptist, right? The voice of one crying in the wilderness, preparing the way of the Lord. It's right there. And you know, there's many theories about the 7 weeks of consolation. During this period of time, Yeshua is in the desert. During these 40 weeks, this 40 days, 40 days, the 7 weeks of consolation. And he's even using a couple of these verses to confront the evil one. So the 7 weeks of consolation starts with Viat Hanam, Nachamu. It's called Shabbat Nachamu, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. Then Ekev, which is called Batomer Zion, Isaiah 49, Re'eh, Aniyah, Soara, Isaiah 54 to 55. Shoftim, one of my favorites. Anochi, Anochi, Isaiah 51, 12 to 52, 12. Kitatzeh, another interesting one. Rani Akara. Kitavo, Kumi Ori, Isaiah 61 to 22. And then Nitzavim. Sos Aziz, Isaiah 61, 63, 9. Some believe that these are the words that Yeshua used in the synagogue when he came back from the desert. This is the one he read when he was given the book of Isaiah to read. It's not just something that, mini, whatever, I'll give you whatever book. It was just already scheduled that the person who will read the Aliyah, the seventh person reading the Aliyah, will be the person who will definitely read the book of Isaiah. It's not, the Maftir actually is the last one. You read the Maftir, and then you read the Haftarah. And it's usually one who is special. And he was coming back from the desert from 40 days of fasting and being tempted by the devil himself. And so he's reading that book. So on Tisha B'Av, we have 2 days. Talk about it from the ashes of destruction to the redemption. Tisha B'Av 2009 again will begin in the evening of Saturday, August 10th, and ends on the evening on Sunday, August 11th. So we're going to be here for the prayers, the Mincha prayers that day. Let's talk about Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av is the 15th of the month of Av. It's a minor Jewish holiday. In modern day Israel, it is celebrated as a holiday of love, Chag HaChavah, similar to Valentine's Day, okay? So if you're celebrating Valentine's Day, that's the day for the Romans, people. Are you Roman or are you Messianic? Are you Greeks or Romans? This is the day you should celebrate, Tu B'Av, okay? So it has been said to be the great day for weddings. A lot of people get married those days. And Tu B'Av begins at sundown on Thursday, 15th of August 2019. Tu B'Av is the Jewish day of love. There's many things. The origin is a long thing, so I'm not going to read it. Let's move on. So all the biblical festivals are linked to Yeshua. They're linked to Hashem's work of redemption through Yeshua. What's a better love than the love of Hashem by giving us His only begotten Son, who died for all of us? So what are we this week? We are moving on to different, I like to, I always put these things together so we'll know where we're going, where we're coming from and where we're going. The 3 weeks of sorrow, or admonition, the 9th of Av, Shabbat Chassan, Isaiah 7 weeks of consolation, and then we'll celebrate the next month, which is going to be Elul, and after Elul, on Elul we are into introspection again, to start with the high holidays, to start with Rosh Hashanah, Shabbat Shuvah, the 10 days of Av, another 10 days, very interesting, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Hoshana Rabbah, Shemini Atzeret, Simchat Torah, and, we're just going back to the beginning, right, back to the beginning. In the graphic, you can see, this is a graphic by Rabbi David Rosenberg, by the way, and I'm allowed to use it by him. And so you see that arrow, that big blue arrow, it's just we are moving back from Numbers to the Deuteronomy. I mean, it's going to be just, the next week is going to be starting in the book of Deuteronomy. And these are the 3 solemn feasts. Passover, Shavuot, and we're moving on to Sukkot, basically. So, and it's 40 days, 40-year wilderness, 40 days, 40, and number 40s are very interesting. 7 weeks plus 1 day, 50 days, it's another 50 days right there. And of course, I always like to remind you about the Torah cycle, or the Torah. No, it's not just the Torah reading. You're just reading, you study it, but you also need to practice this thing. And it comes with tefillah, which is prayer, the Shabbat, the Rosh Chodesh, the festivals, and then go back to the future again. Like to remind you about the 3 weeks of admonition. We are in the second one, Matot Masei, moving to the Varim. Just study those prophecies, read them carefully, study them. The most, give a lot of time on this. Put a lot of attention in these warnings that the Lord is giving us. Because all these things will happen again. And you'll be like, what happened? Well, you haven't read your real calendar, celebrating Valentine's Day and Christmas and all those things. You're missing the point. Okay? No, it's the Martians, by the way. No Congregation Bethel and I, all right? So, that's what happened. So, again, you have the month of Av right there. And then you have very interesting, which is, the Av is, again, is sad, but at the same time happy. Half of the month is sad and half of the month is not. Then Elul is supposed to be the month of preparation. You prepare yourself to move on to the next level. Tishrei is the month of the high holidays. You have all the high holidays right there. You already come prepared to celebrate Rosh Chodesh. You're happy on Yom Kippur. You're not going to be crying out because you already make amends, and you already fix everything that is going on in your hearts. You're ready to enjoy it. Then Heshvan is very interesting. Heshvan doesn't have any festivals, but the tradition says is being reserved for Mashiach, which is very interesting. And Kislev is the month of light, and in the secular calendar is the last month. And but again, we move on to different things. So you know that Yeshua is the perfect link, not only with all the prayers, Rosh Chodesh, festivals, and the Torah. He is our hope, and He is into our consolations of the Olam Hazeh, of this world. He also is the hope to bring us together from the Olam Haba, the world to come. He should be the link for everything we do. For everything we do, we should, have this name. Have this name right on your forehead, into your head, into your heart, to do everything. So may we remember the destruction and the redemption on this month. We may remember that Yeshua is our perfect link for everything we do. Let's pray. Abba, thank you for your amazing love. Thank you for Yeshua, our Messiah. Thank you for everything you are doing in our lives. And just, Father, help us to go through this month and have our hearts ready to meet whenever you want us to meet, in your Sabbath, in our prayers, in your holidays. Help us, Lord, to move on by the name of Yeshua, and give us also your Holy Spirit all the time to practice your instruction. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.